Hello, fourth grade math students. I promised you we do a chapter 11 review test today. And so if you want to get out your workbooks, open it up to page 633. If you haven't already gone through this exercise and know what questions you might have been confused about, if you do it ahead of time, then when I explain those problems, you'll be surprised how the light will go on. But at any rate, if you haven't done it, that's okay too. We're going to go over the Chapter 11 review. So let's take a look what we got on page 663. The first problem there is an angle represents 1/12 of a circle. Remember we talked about circle being 360 degrees. And this is going to represent 1/12 of that. It says use the numbers to show how to find the measures of the angle in degrees. So you've got 1/12 of 1/360. Now, if you multiply, if this is basically a division problem, because you got to divide the 360 by 12. But in order to do a division problem, you have to invert the second fraction. Flip it over. So what you end up with is 360 divided by 12, and it gives you an answer of 30. Due to division, the answer is 30. So 1/12 of a circle is 30 degrees. How can you check that? Well, do the opposite of division and multiply 30 times 12, and it equals 360. You got the right answer. That was easy. Now, if it was asking you for 2/12, you would still divide the 360 by 12, but then you'd take the 30 and times it by 2, because there were 2/12. So 2/12 would be 60 degrees. That wasn't in the book. That was just a little extra, no extra charge. Number 2, match the measure of each angle. And when you see that little angle symbol, that's telling you it's an angle. Match the measure of each angle C with the measure of angle D. That forms a straight line, or a straight angle. A straight angle is 180 degrees, right? So you take the numbers that are on the left column under angle C, and you match it up with whatever number on angle D where the sum of those two numbers equals 180. So if you got 122, we're looking for 58. And sure enough, there it is, the fourth number down, 58 degrees. 35, we need 145 for that, don't we? And there it is at the very top of the list, 145 degrees. Just remember, on a straight angle, it's 180 degrees. You can figure those ones out. Number 3, Katie drew an obtuse angle. What's an obtuse angle? Yes, you're right. It's an angle that's greater than 90 degrees. Which could be the measure of the angle she drew? Mark all that apply. So, if we know that an obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees, any number that's less than 90 degrees is wrong. Look for the numbers that are greater than 90. And those numbers would be 157, 180, and yes, 92 is 2 degrees past 90. That makes it an obtuse angle. Number 4, they're just asking you to draw an angle that represents one turn clockwise. Remember we talked clockwise and counterclockwise? 1/4 turn clockwise. So we're going to go clockwise, and 1/4 turn would be 1/4 of the way around that circle. By the way, that's a 90-degree angle. Doesn't ask you that, but it's good to know those little details. 634, if I can get on the page here. Number 5, Renee drew the figure shown. Well, let's go ahead and draw Renee's figure. And we have a straight angle, and we have an intersect like so, and it's telling us that this side is 75 degrees. Now, what do they want to know? 5A through C, select yes or no to tell whether the statement is true. The measure of a straight angle is 180 degrees. Everybody knows that, right? That's true. To find the measure of x, and x would be that unknown angle on the other side, Renee can subtract 75 from 180. Well, we know that this angle is 180. In order to figure out this, you would subtract 75 from 180. And so this angle here would be 105 degrees. Got it? The measure of x is 115. Well, we just got the answer, and we know it's 105. So that's got to be wrong. All right, think smarter. Oh boy, we got to draw another picture here. Another picture with a lot of arrows and numbers. Actually, the more arrows and numbers, the more interesting it is, right? We have points E, F, and G on the straight angle. So here's E, here's F, and here's G. And then we got coming off of that angle, angles J and K. So this is J, this is K. By the way, the line with the arrow, that's called a ray. It goes as far as it can go, forever. We put an arrow on it so we don't have to draw it forever. And it says that we've got a 55-degree angle here. And we have an 80-degree angle here. They want to know what that one is. Easy peasy. How do we figure it? We're going to add these two together. 80 and 55. That's 5. And 8 and 5 is 13. So we know we've used up 135 degrees of what is 180. So now all we got to do is subtract 135 from 180. 45. The missing angle is 45 degrees. How do you know if that's correct? Add 45, 80, and 55, and it better come out to 180. If it does, you got it. What do we got next? Number 7. Oh, number 7, it's asking you to use a protractor. If you got a protractor, I'm going to put my protractor on here and just measure it real quick for you. And of course, they never make the line long enough to intersect your protractor, so I just use like a pencil to go ahead and extend it. That's an acute angle, so you know it's less than 90 degrees. So you don't want to use the bigger number. You want to use the smaller number. And if you have a protractor and you came up with 40 degrees, you got it right. All right, now we got Alex. Everybody's getting in on the game here. Alex. This is Alex's circle. And he's got two rays coming out of the center of that circle. And it's showing a clockwise rotation. So let's see. Alex drew this angle on the circle, which describes the angle. Is it 1/4 turn? Is it a half a turn? Yeah. It's half the circle. Is it going clockwise? Why, yes, it is. Is it going counterclockwise? Well, it can't go both ways. Clockwise is the correct answer. Number 9, Miles has a piece of paper that is 1/4 of a large circle. Okay, so he has a piece of paper that's 1/4 of this circle. He cuts the paper into 3 equal parts from the center point of the circle. What is the angle measure of each part? If it's 1/4 the circle, it's got to be 1/4 of 360. So we know that 1/4 of a circle is 90 degrees. If he cuts 3 of those, it would be 3 times 90, or 270 degrees, which would take up 3/4 of the circle. 90 plus 90 plus 90. 3 times 90 is 270. I know you know that. Easy peasy. Leonard, we're going to get a really tough question here. Come on. Number 10. Well, number 10, it's asking you to use your protractor again. Write each angle and its measure in a box ordered by the measure of the angles from the least to the greatest. Well, just looking at it, if those were slices of pizza, you'd want the biggest slice, right? Now, I'm going to use my protractor. I think slice A is probably the biggest slice, but we're going to find out here because slice A is 140 degrees. So A equals 140 degrees. Let's see what C is, because C is pretty close to the same size as A, but guess what? C is only 120 degrees. Now I'm using a protractor. If you don't have a protractor, then you're kind of out of luck on that. You'll have to wait until we come back to school. The last angle, B, looking at it, it comes in right at about 100 degrees. So from greatest to smallest, it would be A, C, and then B. So if this was a pizza and you want the biggest slice, you're going to take slice A. Then you're going to take slice B. And if you're unlucky, slice C, if you're unlucky, you'll get stuck with slice B, the smallest one. Now we have another picture. We've got this straight angle. And then we show an angle here that represents, this is 33 degrees. And this is 90 degrees over here, which is a right angle. And it wants to know what that angle is. And again, this is a straight angle. It's 180. So you're going to add these two together. 123. Subtract that from 180. And the missing angle is 57 degrees. Add those three numbers together, and they better add up to 180. Wait a minute. Use the numbers and symbols to write an equation that can be used to find the measure. So x equals 90 plus actually what it equals is x equals 120. What? What a dumb problem. Using their model down there, x equals plus times. Well, here's what I would do. X equals 90 plus 33, or I'm sorry, x equals 180 minus 90 plus 33. Sometimes the people that put these books together, I don't know, must not have had any coffee that day. Number 12. Number 12, we've got choose the word and angle measure to complete the true statement about angle JKL. So we got angle JKL, which goes like this. And we are going to J, K, when L. All right, so there's the picture you got in your book. So angle JKL is an obtuse, acute, or a right angle. Is it less than or greater than 90 degrees? It's greater. It's obtuse. That has a measure of, now it's asking you to measure it. Let me get my protractor back out here. And my inclination on the measure of this is 120 degrees. And of course, there's no doubt in your mind that 120 is greater than 90. So if you had a protractor, you could measure that. You know that it's bigger than 90. Number 13. Now we got a clock question. Vince began practicing piano at 5:15 and he stopped at 5:35. So he started at 5:15 and he stopped at 5:35. How many degrees did the minute hand turn during Vince's practice time? How many degrees did it turn? So, you got to think about this. The time that passed was 10 minutes. Right? 5:15? Oh, I'm sorry, 20 minutes. 15 to 25 to 35. 20 minutes. Man, it is really snowing out there. 20 minutes. Now, on a clock, 20 minutes on a clock, 20 minutes, 20, 40, and then 60. 20 minutes represents 1/3 of the travel around that clock. Are you with me on that? It's not 20, it's 1/3 of the way around the clock. 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes. That completes the hour. So if it's 1/3 of the clock, it's 1/3 of 360, because that's the number of degrees in a circle. 3 goes into 360 120 times. So the answer would be it traveled 120 degrees. 1/3 of 360. I don't know why they throw those clocks in there like that, because that just confuses people. Just talk about a circle and talk about going 1/3 of the way around it. Number 14, an angle measures 125 degrees. Through what fraction of a circle does the angle turn? So, it's telling you, first of all, let's break our circle into fourths so we know that each one of these is 90. Each one is 90 degrees of that circle. And it's saying the measure is 125 degrees. So from here to here, going around the circle, that would be 180. Right? That's a straight angle. So you're here at 90. So you're going to come into this section of the circle another 30 degrees. If there are 90 degrees in that circle and you're going to come in another 30, where did I get the 30 from? Between 90 and 120 is 30 more degrees. 30 degrees is 1/3 of 90, right? So you're going to come 1/3 of the way in. So your angle would be that for 120 degrees. Well, they're saying 125. So anyhow, this is 120. So you're going to come just a little bit further, another 5 degrees to be at 125. So an angle measure, through what fraction of a circle does the angle turn? It turns in a fraction form 125 over 360. 125 out of 360. That's the fraction form of it right there. Sometimes I like to just draw the picture because I think that maybe help you a little bit. Write the letter for each angle measure in the correct box. We're on number 15. 125 degrees is an obtuse angle. 90 degrees is your right angle. 180 is your straight angle. 30 is an acute angle, less than 90 degrees. 45 is also an acute angle. And F, 95, greater than 90, that's an obtuse angle. Number 16, for numbers 16A through 16B, select the fraction that makes a true statement about the figure. Okay, well, looking at figure 1, we've got a clockwise motion. Figure 2 is counterclockwise. And let's see what 16a. The angle in figure 1 represents a 2/3 turn. No, I take that back. It's not 2/3. I'm going to say 3/4 of a turn. Because even though that angle is not starting right straight up at the top, if you look at it, the angle that's created by those two rays is a 90-degree angle. So if the empty space is 90 degrees, that's 1/4. So the area with the arrow moving clockwise has to be 3/4. 16b, figure 2 represents a, well, that one's easy. That's a half turn. 17. Now, we've done these problems before as we've gone through the chapter here. Let's look at what this one's asking us to do. Gives us that shape. We're going to create a right angle here. We're going to know that the total angle is 126. And we need to figure out what this little angle is here. And it's labeled that vertex is R, this one is S, and this is N. Not sure why they needed to label it, but let's look. She wants to calculate the measure of the piece that's left over. Well, what you got to do here, in order to figure this out, the total is 126. We know that from here to here is 90 because it's defined as a right angle. You with me? So 126 minus the 90 gives you an answer of 36 degrees. So if this angle from the dotted line to line RS is 90 degrees, the balance over here is 36 degrees. Because 90 and 36 total together is 126. Got it? Write and solve an equation to find that. Well, we just did it. 126 minus 90 equals x, or x equals 126 minus 90. Bringing it home here, 18. 3 parts to this one. 2 angles, angle A and angle B, form a right angle. Angle A and angle B form a right angle. Angle A measures 32 degrees. Angle A measures 32 degrees. For numbers 18A through C, select the 3 true or false statements. Two angles. Let's get our two angles here. Let me draw that differently. So we got angle A and we got angle B. These angles here. It says here that they form a right angle. So this is a right angle. Angle A measures 32 degrees. This measures 32 degrees. So in order for it to become 90, it's got to be 58 degrees. Because 32 and 58 equals 90. It's got to equal 90. It's a right angle. So B is an acute angle. Is B an acute angle? Yes, it is. It's less than 90 degrees. 58. The equation 180 minus 32 equals x can be used to find the measure. 180 minus 32. If you do 180 minus 32, it's 148. So let's look at this. Is that true? We know that this angle is 90 degrees, and we were able to determine this angle to be 58 degrees. If we add those two together, it equals 90 degrees. Nope, you can't use that. That doesn't work. Now, because that's what it would have to look like to use that formula. And you no longer would have a right angle. So you can't use that. 18C, the measure of angle B is 58 degrees. Yeah. Isn't that what we came up with? 58 degrees. True. Sometimes you actually have to try to apply what they're asking to determine whether it's right or wrong. B was definitely wrong. Number 19, a circle is divided into parts. Which sum could represent the angle measures that make up the circle? Mark all that apply. So, you know that the circle is 360 degrees. So the sum of any of the parts has to equal 360 degrees if it's a circle. 120 plus 120 plus 120 plus 120, that's 480. No good. 25 and 40 is 65, and 80 is 145. 150, 250, 360. B is correct. C, we've got 115, 165, 276, and 84 is 360. C is correct. 40 and 53 is 93, 95, 160, 241, 331, 365. D is not correct. Number 20. Off we go to the frog pond. What is this problem? Use a protractor to find a measure of the unknown angles. Well, there are angles on between the post and the sign there. And I will tell you that I'll give you the angles here. Give me just a second to figure them out. So Y is that looks like Y is 110 degrees and X is 70 degrees. 110 and 70. So on our post, this is 110 degrees and this is 70 degrees. What do they want from you? What do you notice about the measure of the unknown angles? Is this what you would have expected? Well, yeah. It's what I would have expected. Why? Because this is an obtuse angle and this is an acute angle. When you look at the picture there, this angle is greater than 90 degrees. This angle is less than 90 degrees. That would be your explanation. All right, that's it. We have completed Unit 11, fourth graders. If you get really stuck on something, let your teacher know. And they'll text me and I'll work out any particular problem on the board. Meanwhile, take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay out of trouble, you pesky little fourth graders, you. And we'll trust that you're being kind to everybody, all right? We'll see you next week. Bye now.